Hello and welcome to GCSE Sociology. Hopefully, after watching this presentation, you will have a much greater understanding of what sociology is all about. On the slide in front of you, you can see some course information. GCSE Sociology is a full GCSE and we use the EDUCAS exam board. There isn't any coursework. You'll be assessed via 2 written exam papers taken at the end of Year 11. But what is sociology? If you are someone who is intrigued by human behaviour and what makes individuals and groups behave in the way that they do, sociology could be the subject for you. The bullet point list shows a range of topics that we cover over the GCSE. These include social institutions such as the education system and the criminal justice system, as well as the sociological theories of the world around us, including feminism and Marxism. Sociology is a social science, so we look at evidence about the society that surrounds us. We have to be able to trust this evidence, so in sociology we also look into how social researchers conduct their studies and if we can trust them. Over the next few slides we're going to have a look at some of the topics in a little more detail. This slide focuses on the idea of cultural norms. A norm is considered to be a normal way of behaving in a culture. For example, putting a real or artificial tree in our houses for a few weeks feels normal to lots of us because after all, it's Christmas. But in class, we'll compare how things might seem normal in one culture, but strange in another. Have a look at this video clip, which explores it further.
The English believe it's a slur on your host's food if you don't clear your plate. Whereas the Chinese feel you're questioning their generosity if you do. At HSBC, we never underestimate the importance of local knowledge. Which is why we have local banks staffed by local people in over 80 countries across the globe. HSBC, the world's local bank.
Some American management consultants recommend having meetings standing up to save time. Which wouldn't suit this Japanese chairman who likes to take the time to contemplate what is being discussed. It's fine to get some shut-eye in Thailand, but not like this. Showing the soles of your feet is one of the rudest things you can do. And this hand gesture, in parts of Greece, would also be frowned upon. At HSBC, we never underestimate the importance of local knowledge, particularly when it comes to your money, because what we learn in one country can directly benefit our customers in another. HSBC, the world's local bank.
A key debate within the social sciences is whether our behaviour is down to nature, which is our biology, or nurture, and how we're shaped by the environment around us. Sociology focuses on the nurture argument, for example the concept of gender, what it means to be a male or a female. The image shows how from a young age children are exposed to different things in their environment. For example, with gender. Look at the toys in the picture. What are they learning about what it means to be a boy or a girl? Feral children are another fascinating study for us. Feral children are children that are raised by animals. We look at how this has a very real and long-lasting effect on a human's behaviour. In the image we can see a feral child who has learnt to walk around on all fours and salivate when they're hungry. Other themes in sociology that we cover across the course are inequality, discrimination and poverty, and how these can impact on our behaviours and life chances. Recent discussion in sociology lessons has included the impact of the coronavirus epidemic on individuals' behaviours. We've considered the social factors that may lead to certain demographics being more likely to contract the virus, for example the inability to work from home for some people, or the polarisation that may be occurring in education, with some students able to access and complete remote learning, whilst others are finding it much more difficult. Have a look at the clip, which discusses income inequality in our society.
Everywhere, people are paid differently for their work. What we are paid rewards skill, training and experience, as well as the types of work we do. But how big should those differences be between those at the top and the rest of us? And are very large pay gaps good for society and our economy? Let's focus on two people. Brenda is an experienced nurse in one of Britain's busiest hospitals. After several years moving up her pay scale, she earns £12 an hour, the average wage in the UK. Brian is the boss of one of Britain's biggest companies. He earns £1,200 an hour. That's 100 times more than Brenda earns. In fact, that means Brian makes as much in just 3 days as Brenda earns in a whole year. Brenda struggles to get by on what she gets paid. Wages for average earners like Brenda have hardly changed in a decade, whilst food prices are going up, gas and electricity bills are rising, and rents are going through the roof. Brian, on the other hand, has seen his annual pay increase by £2 million over the same decade. That means he now earns 4 times as much in 1 year as Brenda will in her entire life. Doesn't seem very fair, does it? The fact is, for the first time, most people in poverty in the UK are actually in work. Growing numbers of working people struggle to pay the bills, and now resort to food banks just to survive. And as people on average incomes are increasingly squeezed, less money is spent in our high streets. The growing pay gap between pay at the top and pay for everyone else is bad for those who earn the least, bad for average workers like Brenda, and bad for Britain's economy. And all the while, people like Brian do better and better. But it doesn't have to be like this. Other modern, successful European countries have prosperous societies with all the new technology and consumer goods that we enjoy in the UK. But in those countries, incomes are divided much more evenly. The super rich have a bit less than they do in the UK, but everyone else has a little more. If the total income of everyone in the UK was shared between the richest 1% and everyone else in the same way as it is in the Netherlands or Denmark, for example, 99% of us would be better off by nearly £3,000 a year per household. So, if we want to tackle poverty, we have to do something about inequality. Because higher incomes for some means lower incomes for others. Most people don't get their fair share because some are taking far more than their fair share. This is why it is essential for Britain to cut the growing pay gap between those at the very top and the rest of us. Learn more at highpaycentre.org and inequalitybriefing.org.
It would be interesting in class for us to look at that in more detail and consider whether you agree with what's being said. A popular unit on our course is the Crime and Deviance unit. We ask questions such as, are people born criminal? We explore different explanations for criminal behaviour. We also consider the role the criminal justice system plays in identifying who is criminal and who should be punished. In sociology, we will look at the Stephen Lawrence case, which resulted in the Metropolitan Police being labelled as institutionally racist by the Macpherson Report. One of the great things about sociology is the diversity of the topics that it covers. This gives a great foundation for a range of potential future careers, including those listed on the slide. As you can see, careers in psychology, politics, police, teaching, law, social research, journalism, charity work, media, prisons or probation, social work, and community projects are often popular pathways. We finished by taking a look at some of the comments from students who have taken sociology at GCSE and are now continuing at A-level. Thank you for listening to this presentation, and please do get in contact with any questions you might have.